So next up in track 4, called Shift, I have not heard this one. Shift. Let's see. Okay.
I think I need you. I knew you'd care when I first saw you. I knew it then. I think I love you, 'cause it hurts so bad, so bad, so bad. Oh yeah, I would die to call you my friend. When you are free, stand by my side. And when I feel sometimes I get tongue-tied, whatever you say goes. I love you now. I know you need me. You know I care. You speak with your eyes. I can always tell. I know that I love you, 'cause it hurts you too. I know, I know. Oh yeah, we can die for all the things we have. When you are feeling down, stand by my side. And when I see sometimes I get tongue-tied, whatever you say goes. I love you now. Whatever you say goes. I love you now.
Wow. As usual, I realized when the song started that I should have said something, and I didn't, because I was like, hey, bro, you just said a whole bunch of stuff. You should just play some music now. Why, just like you guys, do I not listen to me? Why am I such a brat? What I was gonna say was, this is track 4. It's called Shift. The first 3 songs are, well, the first song, if we're kind of taking it as the very gentle pull into the album, okay, it's easing us into it. But the next 2 are pretty heavy, right? In an enveloping kind of way. They're not dark, but they're both very powerful songs for different reasons. Well, by the time we get to track 4, this can go one of two ways. We can still travel downwards of like, this is all really heavy stuff. Like, this is music that kind of puts you in a headspace to start processing things in your life, whether it's previous things or, things that are now or whatever. So I was going to say, now's a good time to kind of pick it up a little bit. And sure enough, we get Shift. As we're listening to the song, and I kind of get the feeling it's uplifting. There's more hope to it. There's a different type of emotional depth to it. Then I see the name of the song again, which is Shift. We have just shifted in the album. We've shifted emotions. I think we've kind of shifted time in a way, if that makes sense. Oh, this is interesting. I'm going to throw a strange theory out. And I actually don't think that it works, but I must say it anyway. If we have Childhood as track 3, track 4 is Shift, and we're talking about, I love you now, you know I care, you speak with your eyes, I know that I love you, it hurts you too, I know, whatever you say goes, I love you now. To me, this feels like the infatuation that you feel with your first love. Something to that effect. So maybe we've shifted in time. This works chronologically because we just had Childhood. So we could be kind of spanning time. If we go all the way back to the first track, the Spa tune, maybe that is representative of the beginning of life. The womb, right? That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Now, the hiccup in this whole theory is definition of ugly is as track 2. That does not fit chronologically with this theory. To me, that would come into play maybe after Childhood, but before Shift, or maybe after Shift. You know what I mean? Like through the human lifespan, we go through the ups and downs of what it's like to be a human. And there's ebbs and flows, but I don't think that theory really pans out for that reason. It's too early in the human experience to be dealing with like, I don't belong, I'm different. Like, we're not even at childhood yet. I don't know. Yeah, we've left our childhood into love. Maybe. Yeah. Teenage years. I think that's possible. It's possible. Now, we might get the next song. I don't know what it is yet, but we might get the next song that completely throws a wrench in the entire thing. Okay. I'm sure most of you can read the lyrics here. And it's pretty straightforward. I think overall the song is beautiful. It's very simple. Verse, chorus, but the voices are just so perfect. And the music does such a good job of complementing the vocals. All right, so we've got the first 4 tracks done. We've got Shift, I'm going to say it's teenage years, maybe. It's first love, maybe a little infatuation. Here's an interesting lyric that I thought. If we are examining this theory of childhood into adolescence, this line of, when I see you sometimes, I get tongue-tied, whatever you say goes, I love you now. To me, that screams infatuation, because maybe some of you can relate to this. I know I can. I have said numerous times throughout the 2+ years we've been doing this, one of my biggest flaws is that I love too hard. I love way too hard. I pour everything that I have as a human being into that other person, right? So this line of, whatever you say goes, I love you now. That to me is like, stamp it on my forehead, guilty as charged. Just keep loving me, keep accepting me for who I am, good or bad. I'll do whatever it takes to be what you need. That is not the right answer. Let me tell you, as a 43-year-old that's been married for 22 years, that is not the answer. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make in a relationship is where either or both of you are expecting or waiting for the other person to change. It does not work that way. You have to be you, and they have to be them. You might be able to pull off the facade for a few years, maybe a decade, maybe as long as it takes to raise kids, but at some point, that shit's gonna break. You gotta be you. You can't necessarily chameleon yourself to be who you think they want you to be. Yeah. And whoever says, relationships are 50-50, bullshit. They are 100-100. Both of you should be giving 100%. That's how it works. Now, the exception to that, and I realize I've totally gone off on a tangent. The exception to that is when life happens sometimes and I can't give 100%. And I can only give 40% because I'm struggling. While the other person is giving 100%. They got me. It's okay. We're going to be fine. At some point, that needs to become reciprocal, though. It can't always be, you just carrying me along, right? Barring some exceptions to that, for obvious reasons. But it's give and take. It's compromise. That's one thing I can tell you is something that I struggled with for a very long time. It's thinking that I had to be who other people wanted me to be in order for me to be valuable. I made my own value based on what other people established as value on me. Doesn't work that way. Dare I say, I'm going to quote, I think it was Kurt Cobain, that said, I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not. If it's not Kurt Cobain, fix me. And whoever it was that said it, credit goes to them. But I think that's pretty spot on.